podcast, guys. We are back for After the Snap, episode 8. I'm your host, The Wager Zone. This is our co host, Hez. Say what's up to the people, Hez.
Top afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, guys. So we got a really good episode for today. We're going to get into a couple college football topics. We have about 10 topics total about the NFL. We're going to get into our week 4 predictions. So if you guys are here for the first time watching this video, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the video. Also, guys, leave a comment. Let me guys know your picks. Let me guys know if you guys agree or disagree with any of our picks. Let me know. And any feedback on any of these topics we go through. If you guys have anything to say, would really appreciate the topics and really will appreciate the feedback on the topics, and I really appreciate your subscribe. Come back all the time. We do the show 2 times a week. Basketball season start. We will be getting into the Lakers season, doing the same exact thing. And so let's go Lakers first of all. And now, guys, first topic we're going to be getting into is the Seahawks taking on the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. The Seahawks, honestly, like for the most part of that game, dominated that game. They did really well in the first half. Kyler ended up leading a little bit of a comeback in the second half to let the game get tied, but Seahawks ended up winning with the game-winning drive by Sam Darnold with like 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. He led them down the field to win the game, and they had a walk-off field goal. And if you guys remember our last episode, that's kind of what I said. I said I thought it was going to be tied. I said 21-20, but hey, it was tied 20 to 20. And I thought it was going to be a walk-off field goal for the Seahawks to win the game. And that's basically what happened. So pretty proud of myself about that one. So now my question for the first topic of the day is going to be, do you think you're more impressive with Sam Darnold this season or more disappointed in Kyler Murray?
Um, for sure, I'm more impressed with Sam Darnold kind of doing his thing, kind of just picking everything off from what he was doing last year in Minnesota. So for him to kind of just adjust on the fly and to you know do what he's doing so far with the Seattle team, it's pretty amazing to watch. Considering
Mhm.
of all the pieces he has around him and the confidence that he has coming into each game, and but overall, I feel like I was really just disappointed with Kyler because I feel like I was expecting more for him. I thought, just little things like them having to revamp with their new city edition jerseys and everything, and I'm like, man, maybe this will be the game where he'll actually come out and actually, have a match lit under him. But you know, you would think that with the season injury, career-ending injury to James Conner, that he would have took more command of that offense, and it took
Mhm.
him a little while, obviously. And that first half was just really not it. And for the most part, it was cool to see that he was able to start finally connecting with Marvin Harrison. So they're starting to kind of build that up. But yeah, man, it really shouldn't have to come down to them having to play, catch up like that towards the end. But obviously they made it into a good game, and it came down to the wire as you predicted, in the last episode. But minus the struggles and everything else like that, he did started to kind of look good, but overall, his confidence level just really isn't really there as much as we would like to see him do.
Yeah, if I had to answer this question, because honestly, like I feel like we're both kind of on the same boat. It's a little bit we kind of feel both sides. Like we're impressed with Sam Darnold, and then we're also disappointed in Kyler Murray. But if I had to pick which side I'm kind of leaning. I'm more impressed with Sam Darnold, just because I wanted Kyler Murray to do better this season. I feel like it was more of my heart telling me Kyler Murray was going to take a step up this season than actual like game film and how he's been doing. I thought this was going to be the year that he'd actually be doing a lot better. But it seems like Kyler Murray is just in the same old ways and he's stuck there. And I don't know if Kyler can get out of that. Hopefully he can, because we're both big fans of Kyler. But it just seems like maybe he should have just went to baseball, to be honest. But I'm more impressed with Sam Darnold because we both had the Seahawks finishing, I believe, third or fourth in the division. I think you had, if I remember correctly, I think you had them third in the division. Maybe we both had them last in the division. I have to check on that. But either way, we both did not see them being 3-1 after 4 weeks. We saw them actually. I thought honestly, I thought the Seahawks would be like 1-3 or like maybe 2-2 at best. But 3-1, Sam Darnold's doing really good this season. He led a game-winning drive down to win the game. I saw a stat that since Sam Darnold went to the Seahawks. Oh no, not Seahawks. Since Sam Darnold was with the Vikings, I think it was 1 year last year. he has 8 game-winning drives last year and now this year total. So he's leading the league in the last 2 years with most game-winning drives. So that just shows Sam Darnold is starting to pick up the pace and he's doing really well and he's clutch. But I think honestly, like it was more impressed with Sam Darnold because I didn't expect him from anything. I think I told you in our pre season show that I was like, I think he made a giant mistake going to the Seahawks. They have no offensive line. The run game is decent, but I feel like he was going to be running for his life there, and he wasn't going to be too much. So I would say really impressed with Sam Darnold over that, to be honest.
Yeah, props to him, man. He's just working with what he has, and hopefully that's gonna keep trending the team in the right direction. Overall, it's like I said, it's pretty cool to see of what he's doing with that team so far. Overall, especially even on the defensive side too, like the defense are doing their part too to make sure that they, you know, get the opposing offenses off the field so they can get the ball back in his hands. And when he does, he was just, I mean, all night, especially that game against Arizona, he was just kind of tearing them apart. Really, it didn't even
Mhm.
seem like anything was going too bad for him, and his progressions on the field you know was just out of this world. So yeah, man, I would just say kudos to him, and hopefully Seattle just gets continues to win these games.
Yeah, I think Seattle, they're looking really good right now. Honestly, like it depends on how many injuries the 49ers have, but Seattle might be going for that second spot in the division. Honestly, Seattle's looking really good right now. I will not be surprised. And their defense is legit again. Seattle's defense is back. Their defense has been playing really good for the good first 4 games. So now getting into my next question, it's on the same game, but I don't think I sent you this question, but I kind of came up with it kind of on the spot. And it's gonna be something small, real quick. It was basically with how bad the with the I can't remember with the Cardinals start of the season. Do you think they can switch it up, or do you think this is the Cardinals we're going to see probably for the rest of the season?
For the most part, I feel like it's probably going to be the most we're going to see out of their high ceiling or like their potential. I don't really see them making too much of drastic changes moving forward, so, except for the fact that like they've had little glimpses here and there, especially towards the second half of the game against Seattle. But it just seems like even when they are having their best players on the field, the chemistry just really isn't there overall.
Mhm.
And Kyler Murray is constantly having to make these little, last minute adjustments or little throws towards the end, like as we've seen, in the last drive to pretty much tie the game. You know, they pretty much had it right in their hands, but even when they did have it, it was like they didn't really know what to do with it. They almost didn't expect to be in in that position. They're just
Mhm.
like, oh man, they're probably even almost writing themselves off. Going into the fourth quarter. So, it was well fought. I give them their effort for trying to come back and which they did, but they're not really made for those moments, if I would say, to move forward down the season, and it's only going to really get tougher. And then especially in their division, it's going to be really tough for them, even with playing against a banged up 49ers, or having to go against your Rams or anything like that. So it's going to be it's really hard to see them going on during the season to actually say that they're going to be playing winning football.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this is probably the best they're gonna look all season. I think because the what I told you being the preseason show, I thought the Cardinals had a good chance of starting the season like 4-0 because just with their schedule, if Kyler was supposed to play the way I thought he was gonna play originally, they had a good chance of being like 4-0 this season and going on a great run because they had an easy beginning of their schedule. Beginning of their schedule is pretty easy, and then when they get to that midway, everything gets harder. They have a hard road down the road. So now I feel like they put them in a slump, and I feel like they're going to finish last in the division, and that's probably the best we're going to get. And going back to what you said about Kyler, like I don't, like you said, I don't think they even thought they're going to be in that position. But Kyler had an abysmal first half, 2 picks in the first half, and he just couldn't get a throw right at all. Like he was making bad throws. That pass to Marvin Harrison going down the middle, I was like, Kyler just flat missed him. Like it was the like he yes, was he double covered? But if he put that ball in the right spot, that's a catch Marvin Harrison could have made. But the ball
Mhm.
ended up like right here, like way back here. And the ball, and you can just see if you watch the play, Marvin Harrison is coming across. The ball is right here. And Marvin just stops and just like he doesn't even know what to do. He just like the ball is just nowhere near me, so I have nowhere near to make a play on it. And I kind of feel bad for Marvin Harrison Jr. because I feel a lot of people are making a lot of trash on him. A lot of people are trying to trash on him, saying he's a bust. He's not as good as his dad. He's not gonna. He was just his name is the only reason why he's was a top first round pick. That's not true at all. This guy has all the skills. You remember him playing at Ohio State? I think it was Ohio State he was at, I believe.
Yeah.
But he just looked nasty out there. Like this guy has all the talent in the world, and I'm kind of leaning. Maybe he needs a different quarterback. Maybe Kyler is not that guy for him because it seems like Kyler doesn't even really care. With that pass, it looks like Kyler's not even watching film anymore. Like I don't know what that pass was. And yes, he did had a good second half and led them back to tie the game. But still, at the end of the day, like you can't do that to your receivers, especially a guy that's supposed to be a true number one. And then people will start blaming the receivers, but when it takes the quarterback to give the receiver the ball. So I kind of feel bad for Marvin Harrison. I do believe he might need a different quarterback because Kyler just may not be that guy.
Yeah, you're right, man. Because as I said before, or pretty much as we said, in the beginning, before the season started, it's like this is the year, So if Kyler's not really doing it now, and he's not showing signs that he's going to let up from actually wanting to, like I said, win these games and wanting to better his team altogether, then this might be it. They might have the organization might have to cut their losses. He might have to actually go to the other sport that he was actually really known for, which was
Mhm.
baseball. So,
He was better
um,
at baseball.
yeah, he was way better than that, and they offered him way more. So, I mean, even despite the money situation, like he needs to go excel at something that he's actually good at. Not saying that he's not a bad quarterback, but at the same time, like in this day and age, or at least where in the direction where the team is going, they need somebody that's going to get these, players the ball. And at the end of the day, like it's not like these guys are a bunch of scrubs. These are NFL caliber players, and they set
Mhm.
this team up to kind of contend in a way. So they don't really have a bad roster, but it's just those little things that matter, in order to have a winning culture.
Yeah, I agree. Like we are both Kyler Murray fans, but I think we're both at the point like it might be time for Kyler Murray to start thinking about his future instead of just putting Arizona through the same exact thing is Arizona doesn't deserve this. They're a good organization. They have great fans out there. I know the fans are diehards out in Arizona because I know a lot of people in Arizona that are diehard Cardinals fans, and they don't deserve this, especially with a guy that probably cares more about playing video games than he honestly cares about football at the moment. So I kind of feel bad for the Cardinals, and I'm very disappointed in Kyler Murray. But now getting into our next topic, guys, game of the week. Chiefs versus Ravens. Both these teams are 1-2. I don't believe we thought we would be saying that about at least about the Ravens. The Chiefs, I kind of maybe expected it a little bit, but I don't think we expected the Ravens to be 1-2. The Ravens got basically it didn't feel like a blowout, but they lost by 8 points to Detroit, but that kind of just watching the game, it just felt like the defense couldn't stop anybody. So it kind of felt like they got blown out by the Detroit Lions, even though it was only 8 points. And then they let the Bills come back, like a historic comeback on them in the first game of the week, first game of the season. And
Yeah.
so my question is, who needs this game more? I can leave this one off, but the question is, who needs this game more, the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens? In my opinion, I think the Ravens need this game more because Lamar right now, if I'm correct, he is 0-6 against Patrick Mahomes. He can't beat Patrick Mahomes at all. There's already a narrative that he's not a clutch quarterback. I've been seeing people, and me too, I've said it, like he's the James Harden of the NFL, where he every time a big game comes, he tends to fold and he ends up not winning the game. And if he goes up there and loses to Mahomes again at home when they're the favorites again to win this game, I don't. But I think they're at home. Maybe they're at Arrowhead. I think they're at Arrowhead. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. But either way, if he goes up there and loses to Mahomes again, it's just gonna be a bad look on Lamar. So, and then that defense with the signings they made, with the money they spent on that defense, people expected that defense to be a top five defense in the NFL. Everyone was saying, including you, I believe, that this is the year for Lamar to make the Super Bowl because he has a defense now. He has the defense that's going to stop the opposition. They gave up 40 points to the Buffalo Bills and basically 40 points to the Lions now. And it's like that defense is kind of like nowhere to be found. And now getting into the Chiefs, the reason why the Chiefs, I believe the Chiefs start. Well, like first thing I want to say, I didn't expect that much from the Chiefs at all this season. I think in the preseason, I said I thought they're going to finish second in the division. And before I should have stuck with my pick. I had the Chargers winning the division, but then I switched it up because I saw the injuries the Chargers had, but it seems like that doesn't matter. And I had the Chargers originally winning the division. I had the Broncos finishing second. Then I had the Chiefs missing the playoffs. Before the IB, when we made our first show, before the injuries happened to the Chargers, I was like, "Oh, Chiefs probably gonna miss the playoffs this year." I don't think there's anything the Chiefs can do. They have so many injuries. Maybe mid-season they could try to turn it around when the players come back, but they got injuries. Players are getting older. Patrick Mahomes isn't putting up the numbers that he used to. So I feel like this was kind of foreshadowed. If you could have foreshadowed the season, you kind of could have seen the Chiefs maybe having a bad season, unless you were just like thinking the Chiefs are still top notch, which I didn't believe that. But the one team that I did expect, I expected the Ravens to be nasty. I expected the Ravens to be really good, and now they're 1-2. They lose this game, they're 1-3, and I don't know if either of these teams can start the season off 1-3 and make the playoffs still. But if the question is who needs it more, I'm gonna say the Ravens because their expectations were so much higher.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree, just for a simple fact that them having that letdown loss against Detroit this past Monday, it kind of just shows where their level of confidence as a whole team. Lamar is, he's still going to put up number wise, but other than that, it's like you said, between the matchup going in against Mahomes, like he isn't really playing his best game, or at least when it really matters. So
Hmm.
uh, they would definitely need to win in order to establish their groove back offensively and defensively. As you said, like the defense was kind of considered to be that team to kind of, if the offense can't get it going, they're going to make things happen. So I would definitely lean more towards of them needing this win more than KC. But as for the Chiefs, really, you know, they also feel like they can't just lay down and let them win, because they also got to prove that they belong. Continuing with the big powerhouse teams, and that they're still showing that they're hungry. So um, overall, yeah, I would definitely feel like it should be a game for the Ravens to kind of come out swinging and being like, yeah, we're the ones that actually need this win more than y'all, and hopefully they get things going again.
Yeah, and honestly, we'll get into our picks later, but like I said, we both think this is kind of a must-win for the Ravens. Like, especially, it's kind of a must-win for Lamar and for Harbaugh. Because if Harbaugh goes out there and loses this game and they miss the playoffs, he might be losing his job. They might end up getting rid of him, even though he probably doesn't deserve to lose his job. Because historically, the coach loses his job before the star player. So they'll probably get rid of the coach and try something different now instead of blaming Lamar, which Lamar probably deserves a lot of the blame when it comes to this thing. But they're probably going to end up blaming the coach. But I think it's a must win for Lamar. You can't start off your career 0-6 against Patrick Mahomes, because that just shows you cannot beat this guy. At least Josh Allen beats him in the regular season. Lamar can't beat him at all. So I think it's a must win for Lamar, and it's a must win for Harbaugh, because I don't want to see that man lose his job, because he's a great coach and he is a Super Bowl winning coach. So I don't want to see that man lose his job. So I want the Ravens honestly to win this game.
Yeah, and they have all the pieces to do it, man. They just got to cut out these little mistakes, such as, like, all. I mean, even from the matchup recently on Monday night with the Lions, they weren't really having a bad game, but then when it came down to it, like, they just couldn't convert on these third downs. Lamar is pretty much
Mhm.
scrambling, and then when he does see a little daylight to kind of take off, he's literally just getting back to the line of scrimmage, because everybody's pretty much just put on this QB spy to pretty much like, no, you're not letting him go anywhere. And
Yeah.
then, the only one that seemed to actually uh, make a difference in terms of on the receiving end was their tight end Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
So that was cool that they finally got him involved, and he's looking back to his normal self. But overall, like, even the running game was subpar. I mean, you had Derrick Henry was starting out the gates like, okay, he looked like he might single-handedly win this game by himself. But when the game was on the line, he just fumbled the ball, and that was three, like we said last episode, that was 3 games in
Mhm.
a row where he just coughed up the ball. So they could just eliminate those few things. They should be back.
Yeah, I agree. I personally too, just looking at the teams, I think the Ravens are a better team than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So like that's why I think we both are on it, because we saw more in the Ravens this season. We thought they're going to be the better team, so we kind of it's a must win for them, like more than the Chiefs, I believe. So yeah, I think we're in agreement on that one. It's a must win for the Chiefs. So now getting into our next topic, Micah Parsons going back to Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably going to be a must-watch game. Not even a must-watch game, a must-watch Micah. I think everyone's going to have their eyes all over Micah this game. And Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy thing. I feel like as soon as Micah Parsons gets a sack, if he does get a sack, as soon as he gets a sack, they're gonna pin to Jerry, and then you're gonna see Jerry, and then like it's just gonna be a show. It is. It's gonna be a show. So my question is, do you think Micah Parsons dominates this week in Dallas himself? Well, we can get into our picks later on to win the game, but just talking about Micah, do you think Micah has a dominant game going back to Dallas?
Um, yeah, for the most part, I believe that he will try to and push hard on his behalf to, especially on his return against his former team that drafted him, and especially after all the drama and everything that had happened off during the off season. So defensively, it starts with him, to kind of set the tone this game. Um, so it's going to definitely be an emotional start for him, but I don't think it's going to be too much overwhelming for him. He's going to very much look forward to it, and you know, um, I do believe he's going to pretty much have a really outstanding game against his former team. So you know, uh, hopefully he can have a couple, if not a few sacks against him, or just put that pressure on his former quarterback. So I know it's going to be very much bittersweet, but yeah, I ultimately think that he's gonna do everything he can to lead his new team into victory.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. Like all the eyes are gonna be on Micah. Sorry, I had to grab something real quick. I was still listening to you, but I agree. Like I do think Micah has to have a good game for them to actually dominate. Like if people think they're gonna dominate, like a lot of people believe, all over they're 7 point favorites. Everybody's sitting there talking about this game, about how the Packers are gonna go in there and dominate Dallas. Mike is going to have a good game. But the one thing I do think is going to happen, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I feel like Jerry Jones is going to tell the coach. I can't remember the coach's name. Is it Shane Steichen? Is that his name? Shane Steichen?
Scott Scottenheimer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Schottenheimer. That's what it is. Schottenheimer. But I feel like Jerry's going to tell him, whatever you do, we can lose this game. We can get blown out this game. Just don't let Micah come out there and get like 2 or 3 sacks. So I think Micah's going to get doubled all night. I think they're going to send two at him. He's going to get doubled. They're probably going to try to like stay away from him. And I feel like Jerry's going to tell Dak, if Micah, you see Micah coming around and getting through, steal the ball away. Don't even chances. Just don't let Micah have a good game. So it's gonna be. I don't know if Micah's gonna end up with like 2 or 3 sacks, like a lot of people believe. Maybe he gets one, but just getting doubled so much, I just don't think Jerry's gonna let that happen. I think Jerry's gonna do everything impossible his can to not have Micah have a good game. And man, I say this right now: if Dallas comes out there and wins this game, as with all the hype on Micah, and Micah has a bad game and Dallas wins, there's gonna be so much talking. You'll see Jerry Jones up in the booth like, mm-hmm. I told you so. I feel like this is like I said, it's gonna be a show. Like it's gonna be like so you ever seen that meme? Absolute cinema. Like that's literally what's gonna be. It's gonna be like a whole show for the so to answer the question, I do think Micah has a really good game because he's gonna have to. All eyes are on him. He knows all eyes are on him, and he knows he's gonna have to come out there and show out. So I do believe Micah has a good game. I see Micah probably having probably like I want to say like 5 QB rushes where he rushes Dak to throw the ball. He might get 2 sacks. I literally see Micah coming out there with fire in his heart just to be like, you know what? F you, Jerry Jones, and I'm gonna make sure you see what you lost. So I think Micah comes out there, and I agree, and I think I agree with you that he's gonna have a good game as well.
Yeah, yeah, he might even go so all out to where he's like, "Look, if I end up pulling something, or if I get, if I'm out for the next couple games, so be it." But he's like almost trying to prove, like, especially they're playing in Dallas, right?
But in Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely a big homecoming for him. So he's just like, "Look, I'm gonna give everything I have so far in the season to go against them and to prove like it was a big mistake. You guys should have retained me. I didn't necessarily want to leave, but since that was it. Like, I'm gonna really prove to everybody around the league, and especially against his former team, that it's just, it's just that time that it's gonna be
Mhm.
a new transition phase for him. He's moved on into a better organization that actually cares about him and that surrounds him with pieces that are gonna actually lead him into the promised land. And he has relatively a a good quarterback on his side as well. So, and they also, it wasn't like the Packers were scrubs before they acquired him. They have some really good, solid pieces all across the
Yeah.
board. So, you know, um, it's not a question that they're going to do their job on the defensive side. But like I said before, it really is going to start with him to set that tone moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be up to him to set that tone of the game. I honestly, I can see it already. I can see Micah getting a sack and looking up at Jerry's booth because he knows where Jerry sits. Everybody knows in that building where knows where Jerry sits. He gonna get a sack and look right at Jerry like, this is what you going, this is what you gonna deal with all night. And yeah, I think I'm gonna have to watch the game. I'm gonna have to. Like, I'm probably gonna be working, but I'm gonna be like, hey, every time the defense Packers on defense, I'm like, I'm like, sorry guys, I gotta see Micah if he gets a sack or not because, and I might even take a bet on it. Micah to get at least one sack. I feel like a lot of people are betting that this week, so maybe the line is like juiced up. I haven't even looked at that stuff yet, but Micah to get a sack might be the bet to go this week because he's gonna have to. He has to come out
Hmm.
there and get a sack because if he doesn't, and I'm not gonna say it's gonna prove Jerry right, but it's gonna be a dagger into everything Micah said that he thought he was, and it's gonna be almost like proving that Jerry was right about one thing that Micah, when all lights are on him and you need him, he kind of doesn't show up. So I think Micah's gonna have to go out there and have a really good game. So
And on the opposite side, you feel like Jerry cares about um he cares about the team containing Micah to not having a big game like that compared to actually winning the game. So I
yeah,
think that's kind of funny.
yeah, I really believe that. I really believe he's gonna be like, guys, doesn't matter if we win, just don't let Micah come out there and get like 3 sacks and kill us. Like, I feel it
He's like
though. I feel
he's
it.
like
If I'm like,
we can get blown out, but just don't let Micah do him. Like
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be like that. I tell my team he can have 3 sacks.
yeah,
But if we win the game, we can look at him and be like, look at the scoreboard. Like at least we won. But I feel it though. You don't want him to come out there and have a good game. But the one thing, yeah, that Micah could have a great game. But if you win the game, that sends more of a message. Like, see, we beat
exactly.
you without even like if you lose the if you get blown out, but Micah has 0 sacks and only has like 1 tackle, you still lost the game and got blown out. So like what like yeah, so but Jerry, you know how Jerry's mind works. Jerry cares more about his image than he cares about Dallas Cowboys winning games. So I don't understand Jerry sometimes. So now getting into our next one. You're like, yep, I was a Cowboys fan. You're like, I used to be a Cowboys fan. You're like, I understand this. You're like, man. But next
Man.
topic, this topic is called Tua versus Cam. The drama between Tua versus Cam. Did I'm gonna play what Tua said so everyone doesn't know here. I'm gonna play what Tua said, and then I'm gonna show what Cam Newton said in response, just so you guys can hear a little bit. And then the question, I'll guess get into the question right after. So this is what Tua Tagovailoa had to say about Cam Newton.
On the streets, come play quarterback. I mean, Cam's doing his thing for sure, but I think it's easier to be able to hold a clicker and talk about it that way, or talk about what someone else is doing wrong when you're not going out and having to do the same as them, right? So I think it's easy to do that. I think anybody can do that. I don't think anybody can play quarterback. On Cam Newton, recently on First Take,
That's not Cam. Let me see. Let me go with what Cam said.
So Cam Newton first. What should we be saying about Tua after last night's loss? Disappointed. Disappointed. I think, as I'm watching this game, there were signs of, he was in a rhythm. But this is the frustrating reality that we are faced with, not just as fans, but as people who absorb this game. Observe this game. Come on, beat them up, word. Yep. Tua Tagovailoa is making more than Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Jaden Daniels. Am I pocket watching? No. I'm putting things into perspective here. Mm-hmm. What Biggie say? More money, more problems. Well, in this case, it should be more money, more expectations. When I see Tua Tagovailoa over this year alone, I've heard him more than I ever have. That's not to say you can't talk. Like, I like quiet Tua, Alabama Tua, chip on the shoulder Tua. Not is somebody gonna come in and watch film. Hey, let's see.
Yeah, so it just seems like they're going back and forth at the moment. It just seems like I don't know. I honestly, I'll get into this. What I have to say right now. I'll start it off. But the question is, did Tua go too far with his response? And my question is, yes, he did. Like, there's nothing that Cam said that was wrong. You're making all that money. They paid you as a franchise quarterback. And now we didn't really hear too much from Tua at all when he first started his career. In Alabama, we didn't hear much from Tua. But as soon as Tua starts doing bad, and everyone starts talking about, now we're hearing Tua talking. Tua's talking in the locker room. Tua's bringing up stuff about Tyreek Hill. Tua's saying all this stuff. And my thing is, you're a franchise quarterback. You're making this much money, just like Cam said, not pocket watching, just expectation watching. I agree with Cam Newton. I don't usually agree with Cam Newton a lot. I'm not a big fan of Cam Newton's like podcasts and things he has to say. 'Cause I disagree with him a lot on things. But this, I think he's 100% right. I don't see how Cam Newton said anything wrong. And he says, "Oh, it's easy just to click there instead of playing quarterback." Dude, this man Cam Newton won an MVP in the league, led a Carolina Panthers teams to the Super Bowl, and honestly was Superman for all his whole entire career. This guy was taking hits, like hits that Tua got hit with one of those shots. Tua gonna be in the hospital. So Cam Newton has all the right to say this. I think Tua is honestly just butthurt, and he should calm down and not be responding to a guy that's a Super Bowl guy that had a Super Bowl appearance with a team he carried and won the MVP for, and say, "Oh, it's easy just to sit there and click and for clicks and instead of coming out here and playing quarterback." Well, yeah, I think you're forgetting this guy did play quarterback. So I think Tua honestly should have just shut his mouth and not said anything because it makes him even look more worse and it makes him look petty. And he should go out there and have a good game. And when you have a good game, that will shut Cam Newton up. You don't have to go out there and respond because now if Tua says that about Cam, goes out there next game, has another bad game, and if Tua gets benched because how bad he's playing, it's going to way look even more worse on him. So yeah, I don't think Cam said anything wrong, and I think Tua should have just shut his mouth.
Yeah. Um, it's these days the bickering back and forth in the comments on social media is just so funny to me just to even watch or even see or pass down to from other people. But I mean, as far as Tua's response, man, I mean, I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, like, dude, your play on the field speaks for itself. As for Cam, like he like you said, he wasn't wrong. Coming from somebody who's been there before, who's was the chief for his team to actually, come from basically nothing and to lead them into not only the playoffs but a Super Bowl appearance. Obviously, they
Hmm.
didn't win, but I mean, like, how many people get a chance to actually go to the big stage? Granted, it was against Peyton. Nobody's really gonna win too many games out of that.
And that
But
Von Miller led defense, like that defense was nasty. So
yeah, it was like arguably one of the tougher, opponents that anybody could ever really imagine going up against. So as far as Cam's resume and his slight success that he had with Carolina before, he went off to New England and everybody know how it ended up going. But he's had success, so he has the right to kind of speak his mind, if you will. And as for Tua, I don't really feel like it was necessarily the right time for him to open his mouth about anything. He should have just shrugged it off or just kind of, gave that little head nod, like, yeah, I'm taking it in. I'm taking it all in, all the criticism and whatever everybody thinks. But at the end of the day, he clearly just needs to block out all the noise. And honestly, he just simply needs to play. He just needs to play better to avoid all that criticism. I mean, people are gonna think whatever they're gonna think anyway. But if you really don't want to have that, said about you, just just play better. On the field, like that's the only way that's actually gonna get people to kind of see what your full potential is. And not to say that nobody sees that coming out of college, but clearly you are not really trying to do your best to, overall as a team, you're not trying to get them into a better position than what they were already predicted going into the season. So the only
mhm.
way to kind of shut up Cam, I would say, is to just do it, man. Like, you shouldn't even have said anything. You should just concentrate and go over film and do what you have to do. Um, talk more to your teammates, build this chemistry, talk to your coaches, talk to whoever. But at the end of the day, man, how you're playing on the field. And
Hmm.
not to say, not only his playing on the field, but this dude is literally, like I said, for the thousandth time, he's literally one injury away from probably calling it quits. At such a young age. So he really just needs to focus and channel in and really be like, all right, if it starts with me, and it's only a matter of time if he doesn't end up doing it, the organization is just going to be like, okay, well, next man up. There's going to be some drafts where we can go get another Tua, or we can trade for another quarterback, or get somebody in free agency. But this is going to be that year for him, to determine if he's going to actually do something about it, or he's just going to let the outside noise get to him.
Yeah, I think the only thing we both agree, the thing he has to do is play better. Like, don't stop sitting there and watching TV shows, listening to all the noise and responding to it. Because what you should be doing is working on your game and trying to get as better as possible. Because you're about to lose your number one receiver in Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is fed up. He wants out. Like, you can tell, he just wants out of there. He probably will be out of there by the end of the season. I can see Tyreek Hill getting traded to a contending teams. I feel like Tyreek Hill's tired of being on the Miami Dolphins at this moment. So I can see him getting traded. And yeah, I have nothing much else to say. I just think Tua needs to play better and stop listening to all the noise and responding to it, because like that's not what franchise quarterbacks do. And I'm a Baker Mayfield fan, and I was getting mad at Baker Mayfield when he was doing that. And Baker was sitting there responding to people and all that. So I was like, Baker, just play better. Just stop responding. Now you see Baker's got to that point to where, yes, does he say something back now? He still does, but it's more of like when you ask him a question in person, he probably say something and respond to it, like right there, like almost to you. He's not gonna sit there and watch First Take or sit there and watch First Things First and be like, oh, I gotta respond to that. That was old Baker. Baker was young coming to the league. He would respond to Colin Coward. He didn't respond to these guys. He'd be like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. I think Baker's at that point where he's learned from all that because he's matured and now he doesn't do that as much and he's playing better. Baker now is the type of guy that I like. Say something about me, I'm gonna go on the field and prove you wrong. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, not responding to them. So yeah, I think Tua should just start playing better, or he's going to lose his job. He should more be worried about his quarterback future in the league and losing his number one wide receiver than what Cam Newton's saying on the show. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, for sure. He just needs to just block everything out, like I said, and just continuing to get better, because that's the only way you're just going to take this narrative off your head. And at the end of the day, it's like, what do you actually see for yourself?
Hmm.
Obviously that it's not translating much into these games. You're not winning as much or really at all. But, what do you really want for yourself moving forward? Because if it's not Miami, do you really think these other teams are going to want to actually take almost a one hit away concussion prone quarterback to want to lead
Yeah.
their team? At the end of the day, they can find a backup that's going to be a little bit more consistent than what you've been putting up on the field. So, you know, hopefully he takes a lesson from this and that he actually grows, because shoot, man, it's not looking good for him right now, especially him just actually having to actually open his mouth.
Yeah. So I think I clicked something on accident. So like we kind of went black for a second, both of us, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "What I do?" And then I came back. So yeah, we both in agreement. Tua just needs to play better. Now we get to our next topic. A quarterback that we both like a lot that is not starting yet, but Shadur Sanders had something to say, and I'm gonna play the sound of what Shadur had to say real quick, so we can have people listen to what Shadur had to say this past week.
A great quote where he said, "I've never sat on the bench and said I learned a lot today." Yeah, you agree with him on that? What are your thoughts when he said that? Everybody respect their perspective, so that's not nothing in my place to answer. That's nothing I can't answer. I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that. A great quote where he says, "I've never sat on the bench and said I learned a lot today." Yeah, you agree with him on that? What are your thoughts when he said that? Everybody.
Yeah, so basically, Shadur Sanders came out there and said he's a lot more capable of more than a lot of these starting quarterbacks right now. So I guess what I have to say is, do you agree with him, or do you or should he have just stayed quiet? Give me a second.
Um, for the most part, I feel like, yeah, kind of like the Tua situation, not comparing that in any type of way, but yeah, he could have just been silent. He didn't really have to say too much, but at the same time, since he did say something, it's sort of the truth, because for the most part, the Browns haven't gave him that chance yet to show his full potential on the field. And as we said before, he can and he should be the starter moving forward, considering who they have in front of him on a depth chart. He's up against a Dylan Gabriel who, as you said before, looking at just the career highlights they had during college, clearly Shador was the better player. Regardless of, oh, he's Dion's son, he's playing under him, and he has some people on there because obviously Colorado has some people coming out the draft as well, so they can clearly tell like it wasn't just him by himself. Like he has some players on there, and then of excuse me, of what he's able to accomplish under the team that he's had, and the
Hmm.
players and the players that were trying to help him win games. So other than that, like once he's given the chance, I just feel like the team and organization altogether, and they won't regret it. And just allow him to be him. So if they would actually understand that down the road, then they would really truly understand that he should be the man to lead this team, on the field and off the field. So, the fact that they haven't given him the chance yet, only nobody's gonna really know, and everybody's gonna assume just because, like we said before, based off his name, that he doesn't deserve that. But even in what he's shown in preseason, like he's done a lot better than compared to a lot of these rookies that were coming in anyway. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, man, like yeah, he shouldn't have said something, but the fact that he did, you can only translate that onto the field. So once he's given that chance, hopefully in the near future, I'm hoping by you know mid mid end of this mid end of their schedule, that they can come to their senses as an organization and being like, you know what, yeah, we should have been gave him that time to kind of just show what he's about. And
Hmm.
I think you even made a good point the last episode that, yeah, what if even if he does start off rough, it's like, yeah, he's just getting the actual jitters out, and let him throw a couple picks or whatever. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's going to be more positive that weighs out the negative, that he can truly show what his full potential, and that he's actually a winning quarterback. He, at the end of the day, Shador is really humble. He really doesn't want to say anything. He really just wants to be like, look, I just want to play football. That's what I'm here for. This is what they drafted me. Obviously, they picked him up way later, and like teams like the Saints or somebody could have easily used him right now. But even if he doesn't end up playing there in Cleveland, then wherever he's going to go, he's going to be that next man. And clearly other teams and organizations see that. So, I feel like at this point, it's really on the Browns to figure out, are you really going to utilize him like that? Are you going to really put him in of what everybody expects him to be? Or are you just going to waste his talent and then going to be potentially like not like a Baker, but like somebody that literally had to leave in order to actually be to be that guy?
Hmm. Yeah, so just for my way of answering the question, like, do I agree and should he have said that? I do agree with Shador Sanders. I said that. I literally said that on the last episode. I was like, "You're telling me Shador can't go out there and do better than a Spencer Rattler right now? Like, you really don't believe he can do that, or go out there and play better than a Jake Browning at the moment?" Like, I believe Shador is right about what he said. He is capable of more than a lot of these starting quarterbacks right now, or even second string quarterbacks. He's capable more than a lot of these guys. But I don't think he should have said it, just because that kind of feeds into the narrative of what they made about Shador. And I don't believe that narrative. The narrative about Shador is he's cocky, he's a little rich daddy's boy kid that doesn't know his manners, and he thinks he's better than everybody and stuff. And that's the narrative about him. And I don't believe that. I watched Shador for a while. I watched his interviews. He's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy, very humble, but he was asked the question, and I think he would just, you know what, like, I'm just gonna say, I think I'm more capable, and he didn't lie. He did not lie about that at all. He is a lot more capable than a lot of these guys, but I just think he fed into the narrative of why teams are like, oh, we don't want him because of this. He's gonna be a distraction, and did that maybe add a little bit of distraction to the Browns a little bit? I think it might have. It probably added a little bit of distraction because now the biggest story about the Browns isn't about the Browns just beat the Packers anymore. The story is about how Shador just went out there and said that he's more capable. So I probably think he should have stayed quiet and not said that. But I do agree with him. I just want him to get a shot. And one thing about him saying that now, if he does get a shot, he's gonna have to go out there and produce right away. Before I said, well, maybe he starts off with some jitters, let him build into it. That can't happen no more. You can't come out there and say I'm more capable than other quarterbacks and then come out there and try to get your jitters out of the way, because now you opened your mouth, so now there's more expectations on you when you do get your shot. So I feel like he should have stayed quiet because, one, I think he fed into the narrative of what people were saying about him, how he's cocky, he's brash, he's a little daddy's rich kid that got whatever he wanted all the time, and also that now he doesn't have any. What the heck is there a damn fly in my face? But now he doesn't have any wiggle room anymore. When he does get a chance, he's gonna have to go out there and produce. And I think he just added a little bit more expectations on him. But one thing about Shador, he's not scared of any of that. He's not scared of the expectations. He welcomes expectations. He welcomes all that. He is very. I don't call him cocky. He's very confident in his skills. He knows he can play the game really well, so he's very confident in himself. And I do believe he should get a starting job, and I agree with what he said, but I just don't believe he should have said it.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's kind of sort of relating to the Tua situation. It's like, man, you can only really not say so much and just translate that onto the field, because at the end of the day, now you're now you're just hyping yourself up to being like, yeah, he's gonna, because he did say something, now he's gonna actually step up. He's gonna have zero to, little to no mistakes really. So,
Mhm.
when he's given that chance, if the Browns decide to do that, he's gonna really have to live up to it, man.
Yeah, I just believe that. Like now, when he plays, because he's eventually gonna. I believe that Shador is eventually gonna start a game somewhere this season. If it was with Cleveland, if it was with Cincinnati, if the Saints decide to trade for him or anything, I do believe eventually he will start a game this season. So I'm just waiting for Shador to watch. When Shador makes that first start, I might be on here on live watching the game live. Like, all right, this is Shador live. We gonna watch it because I'm waiting for this guy to get a start, because I was the guy that came out here and said I thought Shadur Sanders deserved to go number 1 overall. I thought like personally, right now, Cam, like, and I think I said the last time episode, I was like, you don't think Shador can go out there right now and do what Cam Ward is doing? Cam Ward can't really move the ball. Like, in my opinion, I thought Cam Ward was more ready for the NFL right now, like coming to the NFL and just produce a little bit right away. Shador would be better than Cam Ward in the 2 or 3 years. He will be better than him, and I stand by that. I think Cam Ward was more NFL ready, but Shador is way more, has more potential to Cam Ward. So I
Yeah.
do I do hope he gets a starting job eventually, and he's gonna have to show up. So now our next topic. Bucks are playing the Eagles this week. Eagles are 3-0. Bucks are 3-0. The Bucks have their injuries. Mike Evans is not going to be playing. They have injuries on their team. Um, if Baker ends up going, they're playing at home. So if Baker goes and beats the Eagles at home, the 3-0 Eagles, the best team in the league, everyone's kind of saying they're the best team in the league, and the Eagles. Will then the Bucks be the best team in the NFC? And will Baker now be the front runner for MVP?
Honestly, the league will have no choice but to accept those two statements, if they do somehow beat Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their number. They've clearly, the record from the last few matchups between them and the Bucks, it's like clearly the Bucks have they know what it takes. So if there's anybody that knows what it takes to beat the Eagles straight up, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's obvious that they're down many key injuries, and you know, but if they, like I said, if they still end up winning, then the league is in trouble. And then, that's also a plus, because at the end of the day, we're not at full capacity. We don't have all our firepower. So, having Tristan Wirth just coming back, I think I just seen right before we started this episode that Godwin is good to go for this Sunday. So that's going to be a really big help. So I'm, yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. I'm real happy for him, especially because he had that freak little accident towards the end of the. I think it was literally the last play against
Yeah.
Baltimore last
Yes,
year.
it was. It sucks, man.
So I'm like, man, but if they end up doing that, and we're not, like I said, we're not at our full maximum power or potential on the offensive side, then the league is in trouble. Because once we do, because they can only imagine when we do finally get all the way healthy, then it's
Mhm.
like, man, like this is we're gonna start hitting everybody with different weapons, and you know, it's not gonna, it can take the load off of Mike Evans. He doesn't have to play this grab ball anymore. Or, the rookie having to be, if he's going to be double teamed, then you got McMillan's going to be coming back. You got Chris Godwin. That's just an easy target for these third down conversions. So it's going to be a beautiful thing to see down the road. But yeah, man, if they end up pulling this out like they did last year, I mean, like I said, the league will have no choice but to accept that because Baker's arguably playing at his best right now, and even the Bucks, being down with on the depth chart, they're still not playing bad. Even on the defensive side, opposing teams still fear like, man, they got Levante out there, they got Antoine out there. Jamel Dean is actually playing a better at that position than people were kind of just throwing shade at him the last few years, including me, because I'm like, man, trade this guy. What is he doing? Like,
Mhm.
but he's made up for it. So, yeah, man. If they end up winning this out, then yeah, I would definitely say they're gonna have to be a running up, if not the best team coming out that conference.
Yeah, I think because I had the Bucks in my top 5 teams in the NFL. I can't remember. I had to watch. I had to rewatch last episode. I think I had them 5 or 4. One of those two. I think I had the Bucks 5 or 4. One of those. Um, but if the Bucks go in there and beat Philly without with Mike Evans and Godwin. Yes, I know he's back, but it's first game back, so we'll see how he is. And I hope Chris Godwin can play how he used to. I know a torn ACL is a hard injury to come back from. But with today's technology, today's surgeons, and the work rate and the physical therapy they have nowadays, it seems like a lot of people do come back from it. If we were talking like 10, 12 years ago, we would probably be saying Chris Godwin might be not be the same. So, but we'll see how he is. But if Baker comes out there shorthanded and beats the Eagles, like you said, the NFL can't are just gonna have to accept it. The Bucks are a team to beat now. And one thing, a stat I saw, the Bucks are the last team to actually beat the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are on an 18-game winning streak, including the Super Bowl playoffs, all the games. They've won 18 games in a row. Last game they actually lost was to the Bucks. So if Baker can do it again, and imagine another game-winning drive by Baker, that's the one thing the Eagles do not want to do. The Eagles do not want to give a close game at the end and give the ball to Baker to lead down a game-winning drive because you put him in that position, I will say 8 out of 10 times he's going to do it. He's
Oh
80%
yeah.
of the time Baker is going to get you that game winning drive to win the game. So I would have to agree with you. I think if he wins this game, he's easily the front runner for MVP. And if they win this game again against the Eagles, you're gonna say they're the best team in the NFC because yeah, they're and the one thing to get the Bucks got for them going this game, they're at home. They're not playing in Philly, so they don't got to worry about going to Philly in that ruckus crowd. They're going to be at home. They're going to have their cannon shooting every single time they score a touchdown. So I hope the Bucks win. I'm rooting for the Bucks to win this game, but they're going to be a little short-handed. But if Baker pulls this off, he will be the what I say. He will be the MVP front runner, and they will have to say they are the best team in the NFC. Nascimento gonna lose. Underdog, baby. Come on, let's go, Nascimento. I'm not watching the fights right now, so if you're watching the fight, keep me updated because I'm not watching it right now. I'm doing my NFL show, so yeah. Hopefully, Nascimento wins.
Yeah. And people seem to forget, like, not only the Bucks have their number from the last few previous matchups with Philly, but if there's anybody that's not scared of them, regardless if we're short-handed or not, the Bucks is like, I don't care if we're on our four strings. Like we beat them before. We're at home. Like there's no reason why we shouldn't have the advantage at that. It's pretty cut and clear. Like they're gonna do their best to knock them off, and it's doable. It's not like we
Mhm.
see a Philly team that's, even though they've been winning these games in a row, they're beatable. So at the end of the day, if we can just everybody can just step up, do their jobs, not let up, not trying to take a play off, then we can be victorious. So at the end of the day, yeah, man, I have confidence that they'll do it. And like I said, I don't think the Bucks is scared coming into this matchup.
Yeah, I don't either. That's the one thing the Bucks do have in this game. They are the last team to beat the Eagles. They beat the Eagles many times. I told people if the Bucks would have just beat the Commanders last year, if the Bucks would have just beat the Commanders going into that game, I'm just was it the Bucks? They lost to the Commanders, right? I want to remember if I'm right. They lost to the Commanders playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they would have won that game against the Commanders and they would have went in there to play Philly, I swear to you they would have beat Philly. I swear that was my thing. I thought the Rams last year were going to be matched up with the Commanders and then none of the Commanders. They were going to be who was on the other side? Who was on the other side? Eagles and who was on the other side? Who the Eagles played in the NFC Championship last year?
Um,
Trying to remember who they played to get to the Super Bowl.
it wasn't.
No. Well, they played the Commanders, didn't they?
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about
Yeah,
Detroit. I thought it was
they played
previous year.
they played the Commanders. So my thing was, I can't remember who the command. Oh, the Commanders beat the Packers. I think that's who they beat in the first game. I'm not sure how everything worked out. I can't remember, but I remember if the Packers would have won, the Packers would have gone on. If I'm wrong, guys, don't quote me on this. I have to go and look on this right now. I double check. But my thing is, I thought the Bucs were going to be matched up with the Eagles in the divisional round, and at that point, I thought the Bucs were going to end up beating the Eagles. I thought they were matched up perfectly last year, but then they end up getting knocked out by the Commanders and the Rams. I had the Rams playing against the Commanders and then beating the Commanders and then going to the Super Bowl. So I don't remember how the bracket worked out, but I remember the Rams played the Lions last year in the playoffs, and I was all over the Rams. I told the guys we gonna beat the Lions. I was like, I promise you guys. But then I thought we were gonna beat the Eagles, which we almost did twice now. It hurt my heart last week, but still, I do believe that the Bucs, they win this game. Baker's going to be a front runner MVP. They are going to be the best team in the NFL, and I'm rooting for Baker. I am, but he's going to be shorthanded. But let's see if he can pull it off. So now, the next topic I was going to get into, but we're just going to skip right past it. I was going to get into USC. I was going to get into USC. The question was going to be, can they stay undefeated? And the UFC's ranked now at 21. They were from being unranked. Now, I thought I was going to come in here and say, do you think Lincoln Riley ended up making that team a great team again? But they just lost to Illinois. Illinois went in there and beat them. So we're just going to skip past that topic because we already answered our question. The question was going to be, can USC stay undefeated? They just went in there and lost Illinois. So I think they're going to fall out of the ranking now. So we're just going to skip right past that question. Next question is going to be, we're going to get to Arch Manning. Arch Manning had a great game. I'm trying to remember who he played. Who did Arch Manning play? Oh, yeah, Sam Houston. He had a great game against Sam Houston. They just blew out Sam Houston. They killed them really bad. The Sam Houston, they didn't score anything, right? It was like 55-0 or something like that.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, so Sam Houston didn't even score. They blew them out by like 50-plus points. Arch Manning had an amazing game, almost a perfect passer rating, damn near perfect passer rating. He only had like 3 or 4 incomplete passes. He threw for 3 touchdowns. He rushed for 2 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns total. That's the Arch Manning I expected to see. Now I feel like I'll leave this one off. The question is this the Arch Manning and Texas we're going to see going forward? My answer is yes, because I think Texas, they've been winning games, but Arch is the one that hasn't been looking well. Everything else around Arch has been playing really good for Texas. So as long as they keep it going, I do believe they're going to win. They're going to keep it going. I'll actually rephrase what I said. As long as Arch keeps it going, Texas is going to roll because Texas is already winning games with Arch doing bad. And if Arch comes in playing like this, how I thought they were going to be playing, they can be going for the national title. Like Arch went out there and looked like he is ready. I know it's Sam Houston. I don't want to blow it out of proportion. It's Sam Houston. It's not like he went out there against Alabama or Ohio State and did this or anything, but still, this game is a confidence booster. It shows him, you know what? I can do this. I just ran for 2 touchdowns. I just threw for 3 touchdowns. Almost had a damn near perfect passer rating. And it was a team against Sam Houston. But I just believe that this is a big confidence booster for Arch. And we'll see how he does again in the Nets game. But I just like how Arch Manning looked. And hopefully he does it again. Does Texas play today?
I think so. I didn't really look the matchups today with college.
Honestly, I didn't. All I knew was Texas and Illinois. I mean, USC and Illinois. Because I follow USC a lot. So let me see. Texas football. Let's see if they play today, real quick. Oh no, they don't play until October 4th. They play Florida on
Oh,
October 4th. So yeah, so they don't play today. They play October 4th. They play next week against Florida. But if he goes into Florida and he has another great game, I really believe it's going to be the Arch Manning we see going forward. Like I think that's a real big confidence booster for him, and if he does it again, it's going to keep rolling. And I think Texas can make a national title run if he's playing like this.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely a good start. You know, to finally start playing this consistent moving forward. It's especially at the quarterback position that he's in, and but at the same time, I'm like, it's freaking Sam Houston. Not to downplay it or anything like that. I'm like, Eddie, you could have put Arizona State. You could have put anybody out there, and they're not doing too good, really. They put up a fight last night, I seen, but it really, it's not really when it really matters. So, I still believe in Arch Manning, and I'm glad that he's actually starting to show people like, yeah, this is why I'm at a collegiate school like this, and Tech, like you said, Texas is actually doing good even when he's not playing good. So, the fact that he went off against a team like that, I'm glad, and it makes me proud to see that he's actually trying his best to actually play winning football now. But yeah, it just like I've said before, I just really need to start seeing this level of consistency moving forward. It just seems like uh, now that moving forward into the college season, they're going to start really playing these dogs. They're going to start really
Yeah.
playing these teams, like you said. They're going to start
They
prepping
got O
against.
they got Oklahoma coming up. They got Vanderbilt coming up. So they got a lot of better teams they're playing soon.
Yeah, so only time will tell, man, and we can only hope that he still has this level of confidence coming into those games because, you know, offensively, it makes everybody's jobs easier when Arch Manning is doing to his best abilities. So, he has the capability to do it. He has the all around. Like he has the height, he has the size, and he has the arm to get up and down the field. It's not like he's shorthanded or anything like that. Minus the first two games where he was just kind of throwing it sideways or kind of like not really getting in the range of motion. But
Hmm.
other than that, like there shouldn't be any reason why he can't be playing at the way that he just did this past week. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, same. I hope he keeps it up, but you're right. It is Sam Houston, so it's not like that we're gonna make it too big of a deal. If he goes into Oklahoma and does this to Oklahoma, then I feel like we can come back on here and be like, "Hey, I think Arch Manning's back." So yeah, I hope Arch Manning keeps it up. I was very impressed with him against Sam Houston, but it is Sam Houston, so I just hope he keeps this up. Before we get back into the NFL, I just want to say one more thing. My underdog of the whole season that no one really believed in, besides me for college football, is Vandy. I was telling a lot of people I thought Vanderbilt was going to be a ranked team. I thought they're going to be a very good squad. And they're like, why? And I was like, guys, this quarterback, Diego Paiva, last year he played at UNLV. This guy's legit. I like Diego Paiva. I'm not sure if he's going to translate to the NFL, but for sure he's a great college quarterback. Like this guy, I watched him at UNLV last year, and I made a lot of money on UNLV last year. I was like, Paiva gonna come out here and win these games. And then I saw he transferred to Vanderbilt this season, and now Vanderbilt's ranked 18th. They're 5-0, and he's actually doing really well. So I'm actually happy that Vanderbilt's doing good. They're not known for their football. And they're known for anything. They're known for a little bit of basketball, but they're mainly an academic school. They're not really a sports school. Oh no, real quick, Vanderbilt's known for baseball. They have so many World Series championships for college baseball. That's what they're known for. But now they're starting to have a good basketball team that's getting better. They're starting to have a football team that's actually ranked in the top 18 right now. And they're an academic school, so they're not really known for a lot of that stuff, kind of like Harvard, Princeton. They say Vanderbilt's the Harvard of the South. So yeah, I'm very excited that Vanderbilt's actually having a good season so far.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't see that coming, especially
Hmm.
because, like you said, Vanderbilt's not really known per se to be an elite football program at that. If anything, they're more successful, more than successful at the sport of baseball, and then might come out of the conference for basketball. But other than that, it's amazing to see where they're at right now. The fact that they're actually even ranked,
Hmm.
and they do have a really outstanding quarterback at that position, and they got some solid young pieces around them. They have some. I've seen that they had some transfers coming in before the season started, so all kudos to them, and I hope that their season continues to be successful.
Yeah, that's all I got to say about college football, guys. We'll get right back into the NFL now. Next topic is going to be Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is making his NFL debut as in the regular season, the first ever start for the New York Giants this week. He's going against the Chargers, though. Chargers have a really good defense. Chargers are undefeated right now. Chargers are looking really good. My question is, what do you expect from Jackson Dart in his first start? And also, do you think it was right to start him off against the Chargers?
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like that. him starting immediately, especially the game that they had last week when they had Russell lead the way against the Chiefs. Um, there's no better time than the present moment. So, the more you keep having him on the bench or ride the bench, like that's something that he's going to have to eventually build with his team altogether. So,
Hmm.
I just pretty much really expect him to kind of just be patient, go through his reads, go through his progressions, which I've always felt like he was really good at coming out of Ole Miss. And, just really don't force anything down the field, and just really play smart. Um, but ultimately, I really want him just to take extra notes and lessons from, you know, being behind Russell Wilson the last few games and, don't make these little mental mistakes from the previous games that Russell did, when it cost
Yeah.
the game down the line. So if anything, I'm not really too worried about, how that's going to actually play onto the field. But overall, just really take these mental notes that, don't worry about it too much. Don't overthink anything, and just let everybody help make your job easier. So it is going to be tough because you're going against the Chargers. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, compared to how he would like it on his first start. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, it's a grown man's league. So at some point in time, if you want to make a statement now, like regardless if you guys come out with the dub or not, you got to really just go in there and just play the best you can. So um, for the most part, I'm expecting him to kind of just do him. With what they drafted him there for, and now he's finally going to get that start that he's been wishing for.
Yeah, honestly, I do believe it was the right time because you kind of want to start him off against a really good team. That's kind of smart. You start him off against a really good team because if you put him in there against like the Panthers or you put him in there against the Saints and he goes out there and has a good game, yes, he gets confidence and shows he can do that, but that just doesn't get him ready for what's actually coming. Starting him against the Chargers, a good team that has a good defense, a team that's on a roll right now, and if Jackson Dart goes out there and has a good game or even a semi like a decent game, he ain't gonna see any other probably like maybe like one or two defenses better than the Chargers right now. So it's kind of good to start him off a good against a good game. And my second part of that question, maybe I think we'll pass it right back to you. I don't know if you want to answer that. Was what do you expect from Jackson Dart this week?
Um, like I said, I really expect him to kind of just overall just play smart.
Yeah.
Don't rush anything. Don't thread the needle if it's not really there, or like, oh yeah, he's double coverage, but I'm gonna just throw it there anyway. That's kind of, like I said, don't or kind of just take notes from what you've seen from Russell. Being on the bench and you're just like, okay, he's been balling all game, or he's been doing a decent job. But when it really matters and we need to get down this field for field goal range or to actually get into the end zone or just kind of not blow this, don't you don't have to just throw it up and play jump ball basically. Like, just use what you have and understand that like you actually have help. You don't have you have a pretty elite receiver in Malik Neighbors, and you got a few underrated options out there. You got a
Hmm.
pretty underrated running game at that, and you know just take your time and know that, like I said, this is the time that you've been waiting for, and just play your best, because they obviously see and believe in you that this is the reason why they brought you in the first place, so he has the capabilities, and I feel like he has the overall he has the mindset coming into this game that, hey, I'm gonna just show what I'm made of and that I deserve to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with you. I what I expect from him honestly is like I guess this is the easiest way to put it is don't be Russell Wilson. Play smart. Like, don't go out there and try to force anything. You don't have to force anything to try to keep your job or anything. You have they gave you the job already. Just go out there and play smart. Don't lose the job. That's basically what I'm saying. Just go out there and play a smart game. It's the Chargers. We're not really expecting you to go out there and win. If you win, kudos to you. That's going to be a big step on your career. But like you said, just play smart. Have a good game. And I also expect him just to learn. Just come out there and learn how to play quarterback at a starting position in the NFL. Because you're playing against a really good defense. They're going to teach you a lot out there. Then he might get sacked a couple times. He might throw a pick. We'll see. But still, I don't expect him to win this game. But I would just like to see a very good, smart game from Jackson Dart. That was the best way you can put it. Just go out there and play smart. Don't go out there and do too much. So that's probably the yeah. I think you're right. I expect Jackson Dart to go out there and play smart and just don't do what Russell Wilson did and try to force things. So that's what I'm basically expecting from him too.
And as for now, like, if it just seems like of where the trending direction of where the team is going, moving forward, even to the next season, that there's still, regardless of how he does, on his first start, and if they continue to have him at the starting position moving forward down the season, regardless of how he does, it seems like that's who they're going to be banking on to lead into next season. Who's to
Mhm.
say like Russell's even going to come back, or whoever going to have on the depth chart. So it seems like he's going to be that guy for at least the next couple of years. Just kind of just thinking of where they're going as a whole team. But and if he doesn't have a good start, or he just hasn't really learned too much as he would like to kind of be successful, then that's why they got Mr. Crab eating Boyle out there. Just that's what he does, Which we said before, he should easily be a starting quarterback somewhere or be the next man. Hell, he could have been in Jake Browning's spot right now.
Yeah.
But it's just those little things that really matter if he really wants to be, to take in consideration that, like, hey man, like, they really believe in you. This is the reason why they're throwing you so, not even early, but they're throwing you in the most perfect time that you can really like pray for times like this. So yeah, man. I'm really expecting him to kind of just come out, like I said, play smart and just play, just do him.
hmm Yeah, I agree. I just like that's the best way to put it. I expect Jackson Dart to go out there and just be himself. Just go out there, don't force anything, be yourself. If you have a bad game, so be it. You got the starting job. You're a rookie. You're playing against a great defense. But if he does really good, and I do believe he might have a good game. I do believe he's gonna have a good game because I like Jackson Dart. So hopefully he comes out there and has a good game. Now that our last topic before we get into our week 4 picks throughout the whole Sunday slate and Monday night football, we will give you guys the last topic. Last topic is going to be about my Rams. We play against the undefeated Colts this week. We should be undefeated. Still hurt by that game. I have not got over, and I have not got over losing to Philly. We should be undefeated, but we're 2-1. We're going against the 3-0 Colts. We're playing in LA this game, so we're coming back home after a I'm not gonna say a bad loss, but a game that we should have won against the best team in the NFL. Now we're playing the Colts and Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones out there having a great game, great season. So I'll leave this one off. The question is this a must win for the Rams? I think it is. I think this is a must win for the Rams at home, especially with how good you looked against Philly last week, basically like blowing them out in the first half, but then you gave up the lead and gave up the comeback, and then you get a field goal, 2 field goal blocks to win the game, basically. And you get like it was a heartbreaking
Not
loss
one,
last week.
two.
Not one, two. I haven't seen 2 back-to-back field goals. Out of all the times I've watched football, I haven't seen 2. I don't know. I have to look this up when the last time this happened. I haven't seen 2 back-to-back field goals blocked. First drive blocked. Then you get a game-winning drive blocked. I've never seen it. I just never seen it. So we lost on some like historical stuff last week. So I believe that it's a must-win for us. I know Daniel Jones and the Colts are 3-0, but Daniel Jones, this is gonna be the best defense he's played against. I know the Broncos have a good defense, but they just haven't been like I guess showing it. I think the Broncos do have the personnel and they have a good defense over there. But the Broncos should have won that game too. But field goals happen, leverage happens. But
Leverage.
I still can't believe leverage. But I feel like you can call leverage on every single, almost like every single kick, field goal kick. But it's
Yeah.
so. But yeah, like they should have lost the game to the Broncos. And now, personally, the games that they're playing like the best right now. I mean the defense that's actually playing the best right now is the Rams defense. We're playing the best defense right now. But I know we gave up all that second half lead to the Philadelphia Eagles. But hey, it's Philadelphia Eagles. The Colts are nowhere near the Philadelphia Eagles. Daniel Jones isn't the quarterback that Jalen Hurts, I believe, is. And one thing we need to do is we need to get to Daniel Jones. The offensive line for the Colts is really good. We need to stop the run, get to Jonathan Taylor. And the one thing I believe we should do is if we just stop the run, we gotta make Daniel Jones beat us. Because
Yep.
right now, Daniel Jones has been having a good season. Don't get me wrong, but he has Jonathan Taylor that's leading the league in rushing right now. So he's having Taylor go out there and having a great season, and he's having a good season as well because of it. If we can just stop the run and make Daniel Jones beat us, I believe we can win that game. But I believe it's a must win for us. Like I said, coming off a heartbreaking loss last week to Philly, we're coming back home against a team that I don't even think is in my top five teams yet. Not even they probably barely making my top 10. But if the Colts beat the Rams, I would have to put them in my top five probably next week at 4-0. I think we're just gonna force me to put them there. But it's a must win for the Rams. I do believe that. So yeah, must win.
It's definitely a must win. It's a supreme must win for the Rams, because they got to bounce back from that heartbreaking last second loss last week to Philly. I mean, I'm also not over it. Just the fact that, like, not only they got blocked at the end for the second time, but you let the dude that got suspended for spitting on Dak run all the way back. And I'm like, dude, you even need to do that. Just go down. You already got the dub, but he just, how Philly does it. So I'm just like, all right, whatever. But not only do they need to, bounce back from that loss, but you know, you guys are going to be playing against your division rivals next Sunday. Or was it Sunday night against San Fran?
Yeah.
Um, it's always going to be a duke out between y'all, regardless of how San Fran is matched with these injuries, or McCaffrey's going to play, or Brock's going to play, whoever. So it's going to be a game to for sure tune in to see who's really going to come up in that division in the NFC West. Then you guys got Baltimore coming up right after that, so that's going to
Yep.
be definitely a huge test, for you guys to really show what you guys are made of. Obviously we already see what the Rams all around are, how good they are, but it's gonna be some really tough matchups. So I feel like they need to have a good start already and just kind of you know play really well against the Colts and kind of knock them off already, because they're like, okay, the Broncos should have knocked you guys off. That was potentially a good team that could have done it. But now they're going to be the team. You guys are going to be the team to be like, all right, you guys need to calm down. Like, there's a reason why we almost knocked out Philly last year
Yeah.
for freaking snow. So, um, yeah, I'm really ride for you guys this game, considering that just the matchups all around. Like, I feel like you guys are gonna have their number, and the running game. I feel like you guys are gonna really stop and just really force Daniel Jones in that pocket to really show, like, are you gonna be the one to step up to beat them? Which I don't really
Yeah.
see, because you guys are just very young. You guys just fly to the football. No matter who you guys have on that field, and they really just gotta take the time to kind of just get back to what they do, what they are known to do best, which is play really tremendously on both sides of the football. So I don't really have any doubt that you guys will probably come out of dub this week.
Yeah, I like I said, I think you're right. An extremely must win. We have to win this game because we got San Fran next. We got Baltimore after that. So if we go into those games 2-2 on a 2-game losing streak, I might start getting a little worried. So we have to win this game. Like we legit have to win this game against the Colts. And one thing we need to do in this game is we need to get an early lead. Because if we don't have if we have an early lead, like we go up 14-3 or something like that, that makes Daniel Jones throw the ball.
Yeah,
Because he's gonna have to throw the ball to get back into the game. And that's what we want. So we need to get a lead on Daniel Jones and make him beat us. So yeah, we both agree. Must win for the Rams. So come on, Rams. We need to win this game. It's really, really a big must win for us. So yeah, guys, that is it for all of our topics today. Now we're gonna get into our week 4 predictions. We're gonna hopefully kill it this week. The last couple weeks we've been off and on. I mean, we started off the season really well in week 1, week 2. Actually, it's only been 4 weeks. So we did really well week 1, week 2, week 3. I even said it when we were on here. I was like, there's so many games where I see a lot of underdogs and a lot of flip flop games. So I was like, I was very, very, very tricky week 3 because week 3 every single year week 3 is always like the hardest week to pick. I swear every single time.
yeah.
Now we're getting into week 4. So let's get into the first game of the whole entire slate. Game is going to be early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning Pacific time. It's going to be in Ireland. The Vikings go against the Steelers in Ireland. Who you got for this one?
Honestly, just the way that Minnesota has been playing lately, I just don't really see anything going on for them. Especially they have Wentz at quarterback, and JJ really isn't getting open as much as he would like to. Even if it is, like, they're not really
Mhm.
looking his way, or they're just kind of like going in to a different receiver. So it's like I don't really see them putting too much points against Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh is still trying to figure out, like, okay, are they going to be that team to kind of come up behind the Ravens in that division, or just kind of have success having Aaron Rodgers at the leading quarterback. So and I kind of do believe more in the Pittsburgh defense of what they built recently. So I think I'm gonna have them. 2010 against Minnesota.
2010. Okay. In this game, honestly, I was flip flop a little bit. Like a part of me wants to take the Vikings, but then also part of me is like, okay, so am I going head or am I going heart? Like, do I want to fade Aaron Rodgers because I don't like Aaron Rodgers, or do I want to just be smart about it and be like, all right, look at the teams together. Pittsburgh has a better team, they have a better quarterback, they have a better coach. So I'm gonna go Steelers, but I'm not confident in it at all. I think the Steelers win this game, but if the Steelers lose, I will not be surprised at all because it just shows that these games in other countries, honestly, the underdog's always live in these games in other countries. I swear. Like I feel like the underdog always wins, and the Vikings are underdogs. The underdogs always win in other countries. But I do expect Aaron Rodgers to bounce back and have a decent game, and the Steelers pull this off. I think I'm gonna say the game 24-17 Steelers for that one. Next game, Commanders going into Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Who you got for this one?
Um, I was really impressed how Mariota came out and pretty much was just going over the top, just doing everything he can, looking like the old him coming out of
Mhm.
college against the Raiders. But at the same time, not to downplay them at all, because I know they're still going through the growing pains, still trying to find their identity. But so kudos to them having that pretty good game against them. But um, I might have to say Atlanta on this one, just for the simple fact that I don't, as much as I'm not really a Michael Penix believer, I don't think he's gonna have back-to-back games where, especially because they really didn't put up nothing last week. So I think they're gonna kind of have like a fire lit under him, and he's gonna try to make these plays, especially against a veteran defense at the Washington Commanders. So um, if I had to come up with a score off top, I probably would say maybe 17-13 Atlanta.
17-13 Atlanta. Honestly, I kind of agree. I think I'm gonna take Atlanta as well, mainly because Atlanta's at home. I like the run game. Bijan Robinson is having a really good season this year, and I think he's gonna come in there and have a good game against the Commanders. I just don't see Marcus Mariota coming in there and having back-to-back good games. I know we had a good game last week, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to go into Atlanta and play that way. So I think that game's gonna be close. I kind of almost agree with your score line. I'm gonna say I kind of agree with you on the same exact score line. I'm gonna probably like say 17-14 or like 17-13. Atlanta pulls it off. Honestly, I see the same exact way.
Yeah.
Next game, Chargers taking on the Giants. Giants going into LA to play the Chargers. Who you got for this one?
Uh, I mean, just the way that Herbert and that offense has been rolling, man. Despite the injury or the season injury to Najee Harris and stuff, doesn't really seem to affect them as much. They're still relatively a powerhouse offense, and the Giants obviously is not really playing or really expecting how everything played out these last few weeks, not winning any of the last few games. Um, I just feel like the Chargers going to be a little bit too much for him. But at the same time, on the opposite side, I feel like this is going to be a good chance for Jackson Dart to kind of be like, yeah, we could put up a little bit more. I can come in and when we actually potentially go into the red zone, we're going to capitalize off this because he's not Russell Wilson. He's not going to be throwing these balls out into the end zone three times
Mhm.
in a row. So, um, I don't necessarily feel like it's going to be too much of a getaway game for the Chargers. So I'm going to probably have them put up 31 and the Giants 21.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers as well. Do you know who? Did you see who the Chargers picked up by running back?
Nah, who they picked up?
They traded for David Montgomery.
Oh,
So they
oh,
got Montgomery from the Lions. They traded with Detroit. So Montgomery's the running back now for the Chargers. So they got a running game now because Montgomery's legit. So they're that team just got a lot better now, especially with how Amorion Hampton hasn't been playing as he was supposed to be playing. Harbaugh said, no, this is the season we need to do it. So Hampton, take a step back, and we need Montgomery to come in there and play for us. So I think that helped them out a lot. I literally saw that last night. I was like, oh dang, Montgomery got traded to the Chargers. Kind of crazy. But I agree with you. I think the Chargers come in here and win this game. I think Jackson Dart's gonna be a learning process for him, but that defense has been looking really good. The offense has been looking good. Adding Montgomery now, so I do believe he's gonna be a little bit more dynamic. They're gonna be able to run the ball. Justin Herbert's having a great season, and I do believe that they win this game. I'm going to say 27-21. I think Jackson Dart has a decent game. Probably throws for like two, I want to say like one, maybe two touchdowns. I think he has a decent game. But I think the Chargers pull it off, especially being at home against a rookie quarterback making his first start. I think the Chargers win this game.
Yeah, for sure. They're looking like they're on track to make it 4-0.
Yeah. Now, the next game, two teams that do not have a win yet. They're going to be going up against each other. The Tennessee Titans taking on the Houston Texans. This game's going to be played in Houston. I'll take the lead on this one. I got the Texans. I think the Texans defense is going to hold the Titans down. The one thing the Texans have had, they've had a good defense. They've been playing really good defense. They just can't score for some reason, and they've been losing these games. But I think this is a game for them to come out here and get the first win. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs after this start. I think they're kind of done. I think their playoff hopes are over for both of these teams, to be honest. I'll be either again them are going to make the playoffs, but I think the Texans get the first win. The Titans haven't shown me that they can score really that well. If the Titans win this game, I mean, it's not going to be surprising, I guess, because both these two teams are 0-3. But I think the Texans get the first win, mainly because that defense, I think, is going to hold the Titans down. And I think CJ Stroud can do just enough to win the game. So I'm going to say the Texans win this game 24-14. Texans pull this one off.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like, really, the only difference in this game is the fact that the Houston defense is a little bit more established. And, you know, between both of the quarterbacks, obviously, Cam is still going through the growing pains. He still has a lot to develop. And hopefully, they can add more firepower to that offense because, I mean, they're
Yeah.
at the worst, but he doesn't really have nobody that's a go to like that, especially at the 1 and 2. So, um, I feel like overall, CJ Stroud is probably gonna try to do the best as he can to kind of lead that team to kind
Mm-hmm.
of, you know, up a notch with the score. So if I have to go, I'm gonna say 19-14 Houston.
19-14 Houston. Okay, yeah. It seems like a good score because it seems like these offenses can't really score that much. So I do kind of maybe it could be maybe the under for the points might be a good spot for people because I don't think these teams are going to put too much points up either. Next game, your Bucks playing at home against the Eagles. Who you got for this one?
It's gonna be tight, man, because knowing the Bucks and regardless if we initially first take the lead or if we got to play catch up and Baker's gonna do his thing and utilize every weapon that we have. And hopefully when Godwin comes back, you already know if he ends up playing that he's gonna test the waters with him and being like, all right, this is what we've been missing. This could potentially be the reason why we've been sticking into this game. So,
Hmm.
but not really taking it as just any other game. It is Philly, so I think it might actually come down to the wire. And if they do, it was kind of nerve wracking for me to kind of predict a score. But I feel like if the Bucks can pull it out, it's going to be tight. But I feel like they're going to win it 27-24.
Bucks 27-24. Another game-winning drive for Baker Mayfield at the end of the game. We have four in a
Yeah.
row. That would be wild. That would be wild. As much as I want to pick the Bucks, as much as I want to, because I love Baker, big fan of Baker. I think he can do it. If Mike Evans was there, I'd probably pick the same exact scoreline as you, 27-24. Bucks pull it off at the end. But Mike Evans being gone and him what's it called? Chris Godwin, his first game back. I want the Bucks to win. They win, I'll be happy my prediction is wrong. But I'm gonna take the Eagles. Eagles has been looking really good. They're still undefeated. They're the best team in the NFL, and the Bucks are just very short-handed right now. And I believe the Bucks can beat them in the playoffs if they meet them again. But I do think just right now, I think Philly's gonna win this game, and I think Philly's gonna win this game. I'm gonna say 27-21. Philly pulls it out, but it's Bucks win. I'll be happy. My prediction is wrong, but I want to pick the Bucks, but I'm gonna have to go the Eagles just because Mike Evans is out, and if Mike Evans was there for sure, I'd be telling you guys the Bucks are gonna win this game, probably 27-24, same exact score line. But I'm gonna go 27-21. Eagles pull this one out and roll to be still undefeated.
Yeah, I was actually gonna come up with the whole opposite. I was just gonna pick Philly to win just so I can jinx it. But I was just like, nah, I'm gonna just face reality on this one. Like, yeah, we're just super short-handed, and that could just be the death of us coming into this matchup, regardless of who we have coming back. And even the people that we do have coming back, it's good. We're trending in the right direction, but it's not gonna really be enough to to go up against these Eagles. So I'm just kind of winging it at that point, just kind of hopeful, wishing that like, yeah, we
Yeah.
pull out another miracle, and if we do end up winning, it's gonna come down to probably Baker just working his magic, pulling out of his stuff, and just being like, yeah, I'm gonna make these little roll running plays down the field, and it just get into field goal. So I'm just hoping.
Yeah, me too. I hope the Bucks pull this off. It'll be great. Next game, the Panthers going into New England, taking on the Patriots. Panthers are coming off at like a 40-0 blowout over the Falcons. Craziness. Crazy. But Panthers going into New England, playing against the Patriots. This one, I'm going to take the Patriots. I think the Patriots win this game at home. I do not believe Mike Vrabel is going to give up a 40-0 loss. I was happy that the Panthers have a good game last week, but I don't think that's going to last. I believe the Patriots are getting better every single week. They're starting to look better. They're 1-2. Both the teams are 1-2, but I think the Patriots are going to move to 2-2, winning this game at home. And I'm going to say the Patriots pull this one off in a close one. I'm going to say the Patriots win this game. I'm going to say 24 23, just to pull the game off just barely.
Yeah, I actually was online with the same score. Actually, I think New England is this. They're not gonna just get rolled on like that the way that Carolina did against Atlanta last week, and they are going to be playing out in Foxborough, so I feel like that's going to be a major difference. I have New England coming out on top of Carolina, 24-20.
Yeah, so we both believe probably a close game, but I think Drake May and Mike Vrabel are gonna have a decent game, and they're gonna win this one. So yeah, we're both on the same track on this one. This game, I know the next two games. I know who we're gonna pick. I do. I just know who we're gonna pick already the next two games, but we're gonna go through it anyway. Probably not gonna take that long. Bills taking on the Saints in Buffalo. I'm taking the Bills. Bills by murder. Bills are gonna kill this team, I believe. Saints, I don't know if they're gonna win a game this season. We'll see. Maybe they may win one or two. But Saints are the worst team in the NFL. Spencer Rattler might be the worst starting quarterback in the league. Bills are on a roll. They're at home. I think Bills blow them out. I'm gonna say 42-10.
You know, not to talk mess to the Saints fans, well, I gotta say is ha, because I mean, just ha, because it's it's clearly just outweighed on one side of who's really gonna win this game. I don't even think it's gonna be that close either, man. It's probably gonna be like a quick 40-piece chicken nuggets for the Buffalo Bills, and the way that New Orleans, not only they have not been winning, but they seemingly cannot score the football either. So
No,
if they
yeah.
do have a chance to do so, Spencer Rattler might get like a lucky throw or something to get a touchdown. But all in all, I could just only see them maybe even trying to score if they get up and down the field is by field goal. So like at the end of it, I'm gonna have if I had to come up with a prediction for the score of that game, it'll be Buffalo 42 and the Saints 16.
Yeah, like blowout. Like I don't see this game being close at all, and I kind of see the next game being the same exact way. They might be a little bit more competitive, but I still see this one-sided. Browns going into Detroit playing the Lions. The Lions have been looking really good recently. The offense has been clicking. That defense has been playing okay, but now they're going against probably a top five defense in the NFL playing right now. The Browns defense have been looking good, but still, I'm taking the Lions. I think the Lions win this game. I'm not going to say probably absolute blowout. Probably might be a little closer just to that defense, but still, the Browns can't score points. They can't score points at all, and I do believe they come out here and lose this game. I think the Lions win this game. I'm going to say 24-13.
That's exactly the score I had for them. Just considering of how Detroit's been playing, they literally seem like they got their mojo back, if you will, and Cleveland, as much as defensively, like they stepped it up this past week against the Packers, and they kind of shocked everybody, But yeah, I just don't see that they're going to be overriding this Detroit team as a on both sides of the ball. So I was thinking, like, are they going to try to make it closer? But I think when it really comes down to it, in potentially in the second half, they're just going to fold against Detroit.
Yeah, yeah. We both have the same exact score. So yeah, Lions going in there win because the Browns can't just score. Next game,
And it's in
Jaguars
Detroit.
go, and it's in Detroit, and they're at home. So yeah, the Lions lose that game, it's going to be very disappointing. But yeah, the next game, Jaguars taking on the 49ers. The 49ers are 3-0. Jaguars are 2-1. The Niners will have Brock Purdy back this week. Brock Purdy will be playing this game. So this game, Who you got for this one?
I feel like for the most part, it's gonna be a relatively like a easy stroll for the Niners, considering that they're gonna get Brock Purdy back. Um, I feel like it'll be a game for him to kind of be like, all right, I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to come with a score, I'm gonna just say 28-14.
28-14. Okay. This one, honestly, I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars go into San Francisco, win this game. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to play pretty well. Travis Etienne is having a good season as well. He's running the ball really good. And I think Brock Purdy's going to have to take a little bit to get back into his step. And I never liked really Brock Purdy. So we'll see how he does against this Jaguars defense. This Jaguars defense has been playing pretty well. So I'm going to say the Jaguars pull this one off. I'm going to say Jaguars win this game. Honestly, I'm going to say Jaguars 30-24. Jaguars going to San Francisco and win this game.
Upset City.
Yeah, hopefully I'm right because that's probably going to be my underdog of the week. So hopefully we go and Jags pull it off. Next game, yeah, I think you guys know already who we're both thinking who we're gonna pick in this one. But Colts going into LA playing the Rams. I'll typically take the lead. The Rams, I gotta win in this game. It's a must win for us. We always went over that topic. Must win for the Rams. I think the Rams come in here and beat the Colts. And I think Daniel Jones probably has a bad games. I think the Rams defense is good enough to hold him to a bad game. And the Colts, one thing they don't have is they don't have a secondary. The secondary is not good. Their secondary has been giving up decent, pretty good games to a lot of worse quarterbacks. And with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, those guys have been killing it so far. So far, that duo, that that duo is probably the best duo tandem in the NFL right now in Devontae and Puka. So I think Matthew Stafford's gonna have a field day. I think that we have a really good game, high scoring. And I think the Rams come in here. I'm gonna say we win this game. I'm going to say the Rams win this game 34-24 Rams.
Yep, same exact score I had, just for a simple fact that, it's not going to necessarily be a blowout just because, the Colts are looking like somewhat a different team, a more competitive team compared to the last couple of years. And yeah, I think the Rams are just going to really overpower them and dominate this game to kind of prove a point. Like, yeah, like we should have won that game against Philly despite the little miscues. So, yeah, that's exactly the score I'm going to have having you guys beat the Colts at home.
Yeah, I do believe that. I think this is a must win for the Rams, and the Rams might be my lock of the day play this week. Honestly, like it's my team. It's a must win in LA against the Colts. I didn't even expect to be this good, but I think the Rams can pull it off. So I like the Rams a lot. Next game, the Bears going to
The
play the
Bears.
Raiders in I almost said Oakland, but in Las Vegas. The Bears are going to be going there to play this game. Who you got for this one?
Um, it didn't matter if it was Oakland, LA, Vegas, New Mexico. Like the way that the Bears seems like they had Dallas's number last week, and Caleb seems to be more comfortable, if you will, with his offense. And the Vegas defense isn't relatively too good for the most part. I mean, I'm glad
Yeah.
that they reunited Jamal Adams there, as an old Seahawk to kind of be with his old coach and his quarterback, but it just really isn't enough. They just seems like it's just a lot of holes in that defense to where they can't stop the run or the pass. So I feel like Caleb's probably, in my opinion, going to have another field day. So I'm gonna probably say 30-17 Chicago.
30-17 Chicago. I'm on the same boat. I think Chicago goes into Las Vegas and wins this game. One thing about the Raiders, Gino hasn't been looking good. Gino's had a couple bad games so far. Ashton Genty is not running the ball that good, and they can't get the ball. And it's mainly because they can't block for him. They have no offensive line to block for him, and that's the one thing about Gino. Gino tends to only do good when he has a good offensive line, and he doesn't have a good offensive line to help him out. And the Bears they picked up the pace last week. The Bears looked really good. Caleb threw for 4 touchdowns. Ben Johnson looks like he's starting to get to this team on the offensive side. And even if the Bears give like 21 or like 24 points, I believe the Bears are going to put up at least enough points to win the game. So I'm going to say the Bears win this game 30-21.
Yeah.
Caleb, another good game. Say that right now. Caleb going to throw for like 2 or 3 touchdowns. That's another one I'm believing.
Yeah.
Game of the week: Ravens taking on the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Probably the closest contested game this week that a lot of people are going to be wondering about. Loser starts the season off 1-3. So, who you got for this one?
Yeah, it's going to be a slugging fight considering that these teams have played each other a lot in the past, and they're both eager to kind of put a put a fucking down just a down thing on just on losing. So I think overall that Lamar is finally going to get it together, and Casey's going to have to play a little bit of catch up, but I do kind of feel like it's going to be close a little bit. So I'm going to just say off the top, I'm going to say 34-30 Baltimore.
34-30 Baltimore. Honestly, this one is a very good game, but I'm taking Baltimore as well. I think Baltimore's going to put up enough points to win this game, even though their defense hasn't been looking that good, and Patrick Mahomes might have a good game because against his defense. But I don't believe Derrick Henry's going to fumble the ball again. I think he's going to have a better game. He's probably going to try to have a good game and do a lot better. I
He
don't
better
believe
not.
Lamar. Huh?
He better not fumble.
I swear that'll be 4 games in a row. Like, man, he better not fumble. I don't believe he's going to fumble the ball again. I believe if Derrick Henry doesn't fumble that ball, the Ravens had a chance to win that game. So, like,
Yeah.
if he just doesn't fumble that ball, that could have been probably the Ravens could have beat the Lions. The Ravens could have beat the Lions, but he fumbles. They gave up a crazy comeback to the Bills, and now with the Chiefs lost to the Chargers. Who else did the Chiefs lose to? They lost to the Chargers. Who was the second loss? Who did they lose to? I can't remember. Who they lost in week 2? They lost to the Chargers in week 1 in Brazil. And who they lose in week 2? I can't remember who they lost to. Let me check that real quick.
That's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't. Damn.
Let me double check. Who did the Chiefs lose to? Who was the second loss? Chiefs lost to the Eagles Super Bowl rematch.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, I can't believe we forgot about the Eagles. But yeah, they lost to the Eagles, and then they lost to the Chargers. They lost to 2 top 5 teams. The what's it called? The Ravens, the same thing. They lost to the Bills and they lost to the Lions. Arguably 2 top 5 teams. So they both had some loss to some good teams. But I believe the Ravens pull this one out. I think the offense is going to score enough points. I don't think Derrick Henry's going to fumble. I just don't see the Chiefs offense clicking like that right now, and I don't think they're going to be able to put enough points. I think it's going to be a panic mode for the Chiefs for sure. I said it was panic mode last week. Now, if they lose this game, it's going to be like red alert,
Mayday.
mayday. So it's going to be really bad. And so I'm taking the Ravens to win this game in Arrowhead. Lamar finally gets his first win against Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to say a closer game. I'm going to say 34-31. The Ravens win this game in a shootout.
Yeah, I feel like we're right on line. It's going to be a really close, but Baltimore is just gonna do their best to kind of get over that hump, especially
Yeah.
against the Chiefs, knowing that they're for sure beatable. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Travis Kelsey on the sideline again towards Andy Reid, just like.
Man, I remember last year. No, was it last year or 2 years ago in the playoff Super Bowl? He damn near pushed over Andrew Reid. I was like, that's a 70-year-old man. You damn near pushed him over. Like, you dang. I mean, it's like 70.
Like, man, come on, like that's Big Red. Like,
Yeah.
if there's anybody that like really doesn't deserve that, like, come on, he's like the most chillest coach, if anything, like outside of the field.
Yeah, like for sure. Like, why you gotta push Andy Reid? Why you do him dirty like that? Now, the next game is going to be last game of the whole Sunday slate before we get into Monday Night Football. Absolute cinema game, must watch. Packers taking on the Cowboys in Dallas. Micah's return to Dallas. Who you got for this one?
Honestly, I think I just fell asleep when I did this prediction because I was just kind of overanalyzing it, and I didn't really have a score for it. But now coming on live, I think overall Green Bay is gonna come out on top. If I say a score, I want to say 28-21.
28-21. Yeah, same as that score I have. I think the Packers coming here win this game 28-21. I think it's going to be a decent game. I think the Packers pull it off, but I don't think the Cowboys go out here and get blown out at all. I think Micah has a good game, but I just believe that Jordan Love's going to come back and bounce back this game and throw for like 2, maybe even 3 touchdowns. Last time he had a great game against the Cowboys, and now the defense is even worse. And I think he's going to come out there. If Russell Wilson can go throw for like 450 against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys can come out there and give up all those points they've been giving up on the secondary, Jordan Love should come out here and have a field day and throw for at least 2 touchdowns. So I got them winning this game 28-21, same score as you. So give me the Packers. Now getting to Monday Night Football. 2 games left on Monday. 2 games left. Monday Night Football. 2 horrible teams on Monday Night Football. Why they do this to us? Like, why they do this to us at all? Like, why? I don't understand it. But they tried to save us with the Bengals and Broncos, but now Jake Browning starting for them. They didn't save us at all. So I don't even want to break down this game, but we have to. Just taking on the Dolphins. 2 horrible teams playing in Miami. Who you got?
Just thinking that like these are, even though it's a division game, I don't think really it's going to be too much of a high scoring game considering like both offenses are kind of struggling. I mean, granted, Jets kind of came up and kind of put up a fight towards the end against the Bucs, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
but against any other team really, especially against Miami, regardless of them trying to like come out of their slumps. And I'm just not really convinced yet with Tua. I don't think he's really going to come out this game and feel that confident to kind of feel like, yeah, I'm going to really be on my A game. I'm going to have the Jets just winning 16-13.
16-13. Yeah. Honestly, I was going to pick the Jets, but to be honest, I think I'm going Miami. I think Miami's going to pull this one off just because Tua opened his mouth, and I believe that the teams are going to try to gather around him and try to come out there and at least win a game for him because Tua comes out there and loses to the Jets and has another bad game. I believe Zach Wilson's the backup. Might have to double check that, but I'm gonna double check. Is Zach Wilson the backup to Tua? Let me check that before I say it. Let me see.
Is it Zach or are they going to have Tyrod?
Let me see. Zach Wilson.
I
Yeah,
have Ty.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's the
Oh,
backup to Tua. Yeah, if Tua has another bad game and goes out there, he's damn near about to get benched. Opening your mouth on your press conference, then go out there having a bad game against the Jets and you go do bad against them. I think it's a must win for Tua, so I believe he's gonna have a good game. Because if not, he's gonna get benched, and they're about to put Zach Wilson in the game, and Tua might be saying bye bye to his NFL starting career. So
I
I'm
have a
going,
question though.
huh?
Not to cut you off, but that makes me think because now I like totally forgot that he was actually the main go to backup for Justin Fields, right?
Who?
And uh Zach Wilson's the backup for the Jets, right?
No, Zach Wilson is the backup for the Miami Dolphins to Tua.
Oh, I totally missed my whole headliner this past week because I thought he was still on the Jets to where I was like, wait, if he was still on the Jets, why didn't they start him against the Bucks instead of Tyrod? But yeah, I just didn't. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
register.
Yeah, so yeah, Zach Wilson is now on the Dolphins. So that's why I'm saying if Tua loses his game, they're gonna throw Zach in there. They probably will end up throwing Zach in there and let him play. So yeah,
Well, let
I
me
got
switch
the
that up then. I'm gonna just switch it up and say 16-13 Miami.
it's 16. You're gonna say 16-13 Miami. Yeah. You're like, wait, hold on. See, I got Miami winning this game. I'm gonna say 21-17. Miami pulls it off. Like it's a must win for Tua, so he's gonna have to win this game, in my opinion. So give me the Miami Dolphins. Like I said, 21-17. Dolphins pull this one off and get their first win? First win of the season. Dang, you're gonna give us a Monday night football with 2 0-3 teams. Horrible. But
Dude, if he doesn't pull this off, I swear to God, I may not even watch another Miami game this season.
I swear, like I don't care if it's prime time or not. I'm not watching the game. Like I don't care.
Yeah, like next prediction, you're gonna be like, "What about Miami?" Like, oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna guess.
Yeah. Last game of the whole entire slate. The Bengals taking on the Broncos in Denver. This one, I'm taking Denver. I think Denver's defense is going to be too much for Jake Browning. Just how bad Jake Browning looked last week against the Minnesota Vikings. And now he's playing up against a better defense than the Broncos that has Patrick Surtain out there that's probably going to end up picking off one of his balls. And he's going to Surtain and those boys are going to lock down at least one of them. Either Jamar Chase is going to get locked down or T. Higgins is going to get locked down. And he's not going to have both options out there. They're going to be able to rush the quarterback. They're going to get to him. Their defense is not good, so I do believe this is going to be a good bounce back game for Bo Nix because Bo Nix isn't playing that well right now. So I do believe this is a bounce back game for Bo Nix to come out here and win this game. I'm going to say Broncos win this game 28-17 Broncos.
Yeah, that's like on the lines of pretty much. I pretty much had the identical same score as you because I mean, for starters, on Denver's defense side, Patrick Surtain is just a dog. I don't think he gets
Mm-hmm.
as much credit as he is at that position. I think he was actually. I forgot what they ranked him last year in terms of top 50 or even for defense or just at corners really. But I don't
Well,
think he get the love that he deserves.
he won Defensive Player of the Year last year.
I mean, even then though, it was just like there was so much. Even giving him that award, it was still everybody's still like, "Oh, Sauce Gardner" or
Yeah,
like other
yeah,
people. So I'm like, man, he single handedly have won it, but you guys still aren't giving him the utmost respect that he really
yeah,
does deserve. Or they would go back and forth between him and that corner from Houston.
yeah. Yes,
So
he hands down he's the best corner in the league. I don't see what anybody sees, honestly.
yeah, and if he somehow hypothetically wins it again this year, or he just has like a whole feast this year, then I'm just like, come on now, like who's really coming up with these awards? But yeah, I just really see overall Denver. Bo Nix he's gonna come out blazing, and especially against a bank, just a really a terrible defense in the Cincinnati, and you know, Jake Browning for the most part is just struggling to get up and down the field, just really making his progression, is making it harder for his go-to receivers. And I'm questioning if either one of them between T. Higgins and Chase, and I'm like, okay, are they gonna really start going to the front office and be like, look, something's got to give. Like, you got to get this guy out of here, or get us an actual decent quarterback, or just let
Hmm.
alone rebuilt this team because they're looking like, man, I'm just kind of get through this year already because Burrow can't come back soon enough. So I don't really see them really putting up too many points. I'm gonna just say 27-12 Denver.
27-12. Yeah, I mainly see it just because if Joe Burrow was playing this game, I think the Bengals could have pulled it off and it would have been a very good game. But now with Jake Browning, I just don't see them scoring. I don't think they're going to be able to. Like, I think after this week and they come out there and they're not able to score against Denver, I feel like that's when the GMs and say, you know what, we need to make a trade for someone to try to keep us in the running for the playoffs. And I think that's the time they're going to either trade for Russell, Jameis, or even Shador. I'm hoping it's Shador. Shador to see just down the road to Cincinnati with T. Higgins and what's his name there and Jamar Chase. Be great for Shador. So I'm hoping they make that trade. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, that is it for our entire slate of our games. We got all of our predictions down. I will have the video out for my predictions for Sunday Night Football. What bets I will be out for tomorrow. We go if you guys have not. We've hit our lock of the day plays all the first 3 weeks on Sundays. Let's do it again on of the fourth week of Sunday. All our lock of the day plays have been hit. So if you guys don't know yet, I've already hinted. It might be the Rams. Probably going to be the Rams. We'll see if you guys will know. But if you guys haven't yet, the link is in the description of all my videos to my Buy Me a Coffee. Our members are growing. We have about I can't remember how many members we have, but we have members, monthly subscription. To give my lock of the day plays every single day. I give out a lock of the day play, even if it's soccer, even MMA, if it's NFL, whatever. Today we went 0-2 on soccer, which is kind of crazy because right now we were on before today, we were on a 25-6 run on soccer. Crazy. We're doing crazy numbers of soccer. We've missed 3 soccer locks of the day plays so far in a row. We were at 24 and we were at 25-4. Now we're about to be at 25-7. So we need to fix that out. And our MMA plays, we hit a lock of the day for Cage Warriors. We hit a lock of the day for LFA. Our lock of the day did not hit for PFL. We still got a lock of the day coming up for UFC. And if you guys want to know something right now, I am 1 fight away on LFA and 1 fight away from Cage Warriors for sweeping the entire card. I've gotten all the fights right for Cage Warriors. I've gotten all the fights right for LFA. We're 1 fight away. This guy better come back after Nascimento wins and no, see, I swept the board. But what's it called? But yeah, guys, this is after the snap. episode 8. It was very good talking to Hez. I know Hez sometimes has a topic he has down a little bit. Hez, did you have anything else you wanted to say or any other topics you wanted to go over?
No, not necessarily this week. I'm just kind of letting everything just kind of play out, and hope for the best for pretty much everybody that's looking to make a statement, such as your Rams, and really that's really the two matchups I'm really looking forward to overall. Besides the Baltimore game, is your Rams finally making a statement to being like, yeah, like nope, we're still that team. We're still gonna be on top and making a run for everybody's money, especially when it comes down to the postseason.
Mhm.
And you know, really just hoping for the best for the Tampa game against Philly. So it can go either or, but as a diehard fan, I can only hope that we can pull it out. So other than that, just want to wish everybody to stay safe, stay positive, stay hydrated, and we'll be right back at it shortly.
Yes, guys, that's it. Like I said, episode 8. It was a great time talking with Hez, breaking down all these topics and talking about how Tua, shut his mouth and stuff. But yeah, I'm just kidding, messing with the Tua. But still, yeah, it was a great episode. I appreciate Hez doing with this with me. We do this 2 times a week. We will be doing this again also every single week. Probably, I think the schedule we're going on is I'm gonna try this Wednesday. Probably get back on because I have work Tuesday, and then probably Wednesday and Saturdays will probably be our days. I think that's what days we're gonna try to get on here, Wednesday and Saturday. Sorry, guys. Episode 8, like I said, like the video, subscribe to the page, and all right, Hez, I'll see you, dude. Like he said, stay hydrated, stay safe, don't drink and drive. Gamble responsibly. Don't go and put rent money on stuff because that is bad. And like I said, please gamble responsibly. And this is from the Wager Zone telling you, don't go and bet a whole bunch of crazy money. All right, Hez. I'll see you. I'll see you on next week, Wednesday.
Yes, sir. I'll see you then. Peace.